Good morning, I'm Candace Bourdain. Today we're going to work on pose and repose. We're going to figure out what really matters. So sometimes the benefit of yoga is just in calming the nervous system so that we can deal with all of the stress that's around us. So right now we're working on our bodies sensing that something still isn't right in our environment. So as much as we believe that we got this, no matter who you are, no matter what's happening, you're still trying to figure out how do we navigate this pandemic. So let's create an environment inside so we can go have a place where we can repose. So let the arms relax down, however that feels comfortable. Rock side to side, let the legs fall open. We're going to work on that nervous system again. So now pull the abdominals in for a moment, lower the eyelids. We're going to change the breathing pattern now. Instead of just a long inhale and a long exhale, what we're going to do is inhale 10 little sniffs, like you're pouring little sips of water into a glass. And then we're going to exhale one long exhale. So here we go. Sniff for 10. Inhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then a long exhale. So they're little sniffs inward. So it's sniff, 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 exhale. So the air goes in, 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 exhale. Here we go. Inhale, in, 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 exhale. Again. Inhale, in, 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 exhale. One more time, they're little sniffs. Inhale, 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 sniff, 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 exhale. Now I want to say breathing normally or letting your breath go into a slow, rhythmic, deep pattern. Begin lengthening the spine. I want you to use your mind and listen, not look. So I really want to make the point this week that you don't have to see the poses. I want you to feel the poses. So now lengthening the spine, I want you to see the spine as like a tunnel or an antenna. So lift up that antenna higher and higher and higher. Hold it there by bracing the abdominals. Now inhale into the spine so it kind of widens out. Exhale and sort of squeeze the spine. So I want you to hold the height of the spine the whole practice. Pose and repose, what really matters. So I want you to get rid of all the other stuff rattling around in that big brain of yours. And just this. The spine becomes a receptive antenna to heal the body. I could talk about the parasympathetic nervous system and how the breath, the diaphragm, and the heart work together to quiet the mind and allow your body to restore itself. So clean out the secondary stress hormones and chemicals, just mean. Soften the places that are holding on patterns of stress and worry in the physical body. So for a moment, define the body. Define the boundaries, the borders, and the edges. I am inside of here. When you're ready, open your eyes. Let's stretch the legs out and in front. Take the legs just a little bit wider than your mat. Slide the hip bones back. Bring the hands together. So from here, just flex and point the feet. Flex and point. Become aware now of how you're holding on to your abdominals and how your thumbs are touching your heart. Now flex the feet and hold. Flare the toes out and release them. So my fingers do it when my toes do it. I don't seem to be able to separate those commands right now. So we're flaring the toes out and relaxing them. Out and then relax them. Keep the ankles flexed. Now, with the eyes closed, lengthen the spine again. Now notice the back, the low back. Lift it up higher and higher and higher. And notice how the low back is going up. The sits bones are going down. So plug in. Notice how the floor has got you. Now begin to swim your shoulders right and left, lifting one, pulling it back, lifting the other one, and sweeping out. That's what we're doing today. We're using the poses to clean out the debris of your environment. So just like I've been kind of cleaning out this weekend, getting ready for the next season, we have to clean out the chemical debris that we've created by thinking, by doing. So yoga really isn't about doing. Now pull the shoulders back and down. With the eyes closed, I want you to listen for the breath. Let the wind of the breath kind of crash on the exhale. So it goes in gently through the nose, but then when it comes up through the throat and out the nose, it vibrates and makes a whispering ocean sound. But keep uplifting the low back, keep awakening and combining all of the nervous systems. I could go through all of the nervous systems, but just know that there's a complex interweaving. That the nervous systems talk to each other. They can all be active at the same time, or we can purposely mute some. So from here, open your eyes. Inhale and circle the arms overhead. Exhale and lean over to one side. Inhale as you come up. Exhale, lean to the other side. Inhale as you come up. Now extend back. So purposely now drop your chin down. Purposely now poke your chest forward. Now here's the work. Lift the low back up into the middle back, and then from there push it forward into the back of the heart. So feel a concave shape in the low back and squeeze the low back vigorously. Keep pushing the legs down into the floor, making all of the muscles of the body weave together. Inhale up, exhale to forward fold. So my forward fold today is just going to be my hands on my knees. That's enough. Drop the chin down and then turn your head left and right slowly. So I had a great weekend. I had a great time. And because of that, I have more in my body. There's more in there. So keep listening. Don't look. Try not to look even at yourself. Feel the internal state. The benefits of this is it reduces stress. It awakens us to notice this deeply held tension, like in the neck right now. So now, as your head is turning left and right, nod your head up and down, like your chin is tracing, like those mountain tops, up, down, and you're twisting and your head is going up, down, up, down, up, down at the same time. Little bobblehead left and right. Then smooth it out. Make kind of circles with your chin. And then roll all the way back up. Let's come around to hands and knees pose. Extend one leg back with the toes tucked under. Brace the abdominals and now squeeze the core. Now that foot that's behind you, push it down harder. Like I'm going to ask you to come to plank pose. So you have two hands and one foot on the floor. Push those three limbs down. So that other knee, it sort of lifts a little, not far. It doesn't really get off the ground. There's just a feeling of lightening. Now, brace the low back like we just did a moment ago. Now lengthen the antenna of the spine. It rises from the low back up through the middle back. It makes way by separating the shoulder blades out. And then it pushes up through the center of your neck and out through the crown of your head. And then bring that knee in. Let's switch. The other leg goes back. Turn the toes under. Level the body so that the three legs on the floor they're pressing down evenly. So make sure you're not just leaning off to one side. In fact, push that back foot down and almost lift this other knee up off the floor. Almost. It's still touching. Brace the abdominals. Activate that slow rest and restore nervous system response. Push the foot down hard, lift the belly inward. Now work on lengthening the low back up to the middle back. When it gets there, it spreads the shoulder blades out, and then it moves up through the neck and out the crown of the head, making the body a big antenna. Bring both knees into hands and knees pose. Move into cat. Exhale into cow. Move into downward dog. So lifting up, stretching up and back. Give yourself a break. Let's paddle out the knees or the legs. So twist the hips by bending one knee, straightening the other. So bicycle your knees and your hips like they're making circles around each other. And then if you were bicycling, go the other way so that your knees and your hips are kind of making circles around each other. And then step forward to forward fold. All right, let's have a nice, gentle dialogue with the tensions in the body. Define carefully the borders of your body, the boundaries. Go inside those boundaries and kindly awaken the dormant nervous system. So I want you to listen, almost like you're listening with your ears to the body, to the energy, to the prana. 3 of these ocean breaths. Bend your knees and walk your hands to them. Slowly roll all the way up. Let's bring the hands together. So, bring the soles of the feet to the floor. I mean, where else would they be? But now rock towards the toes and the heels so you activate the nervous system. The peripheral nervous system feels our way around in the world. Now, then hold it. Inhale, circle up. Exhale, that same extension back, but work on the fall back. Chin down, but the front body keeps rising up, rising up, rising up, rising up, rising up. So notice that you have an edge. Let the edge be your teacher. Don't get any further than your edge. Now hold there and squeeze vigorously around the waist. Inhale as you come up. Swan dive with your arms out to the side into forward fold. Walk halfway back into child's pose. Downward dog. Walk your feet back a little and hold there. So most of your body weight is on your feet. You know, you could almost lift your fingers up. Now widen your feet out and take your toes and point them a little in, but your heels a little bit out. You got it. Now brighten up the back of your thighs. Lift them up and push them back. Take one hand, thread it across to the opposite calf. Grab onto it and kind of pull. Now as you pull, your body twists downward. Your shoulder and your head drop. 3 breaths here. Feel your neck and your shoulder and your waist and your back. Exhale. One more time. Now slowly explore your way over to the other side. Okay, this is where we're pulling. We're letting the upper body drop, and we're still brightening the back of the thighs. So keep noticing that there are deeply held tensions. We always come to the mat and people say, wow, I'm tight. Wow, I'm tight. And sometimes people say, and I didn't do anything. 2 more breaths. But you are doing something. So make your way gently, kindly back down to hands and knees. Extend one leg back. Inhale. As you exhale, drag the knee in. Inhale the leg out. Exhale the leg in. Maybe rounding the back, maybe just moving the hip, maybe not really moving very much at all. All we're doing is pumping energy back into the body. So whether you've been really resting a long time or you've been active, we have deeply held tensions because no matter what, our mind is out there in the world. Our yoga practice soothes us. So let's get this energy flowing here. 3, 2, squeezing all the energy out of the body. Good, so now take that leg straight back and hold. Now from here, point and flex the ankle. Flex and hold. Take the leg across to the opposite side of the mat and bring the toes down so that the ball mounds of the foot is pushing down. Now gently sway your hips side to side. Not too far. We're not really going far, maybe an inch. Just the beginning of a feeling of something's happening in the side of the hip. I like to say it's all about the tensor fasciae latae. It's all about that connective tissue that's holding us together. Keep inviting your breath into the pose. So we're doing poses today for repose, that ability to really boil down into what matters. Now push the hip out so you're getting a long stretch on the side of your leg and hold. Brace the abdominals. Don't let this twist your spine or collapse your spine. 3, 2, this feels so good to invite the breath and then receive the breath. Let's bring that knee back. Let's try the other side. So extend one leg, point and flex at the ankle. Just guard against not leaning too much into one side. Stay holding still. Flex the foot and hold. Now take the leg across the body, tuck the toes under, and now vigorously push the ball of the foot down into the floor. This is that same concept we did a little while ago, using the leg to activate the core muscles. Now sway the hips gently side to side. But again, guard against letting the lumbar, the low back, get tossed around. The abs are always holding on. You can almost think of your abs as your brain because they really do an important role in figuring out the state of the internal body. And that includes the alignment of the spine. Now poke your hip out in that direction of the longer leg and hold. So the edge, how far are you going? That's teaching you your boundary. And when we have the boundaries set, we can have an internal environment that's healing. If we're always battling what's coming in from the outside, we never can fix what's on the inside. 2 more breaths. Feel the fascia maybe begin to give way, maybe not. And then release. Let's come back to hands and knees. Move into downward dog. So lift up the hips, but also sort of lift up the heels of the hands. So don't forget that we're really trying to activate the fingers and the joints and the knuckles and those bones in the hands too. Now loop the shoulders onto the back and drape the head down. I want you to listen. Listen now for the breath. Three more breaths. Spark energy into the toes and then come back down. From here, walk down to the forearms. So bend the elbows. The arms are a little parallel to each other. Then push the hips up and back. So think downward dog. Keep the arms sort of spun open, even if that means coming onto the pinky side of the hand. And pause. There's a long muscle up the side of the back, up to your underarm. I want you to feel that muscle pull. It's pulling you. Think of a rowing action. It's pulling, but your hips are pushing. Let your edge be your teacher. Breathe into the edge, never pushing it too far, too fast. 3. The forearms are pushing down, kind of dragging into the floor. One more breath. And then come back up to hands and knees. Move into downward dog, so lift up. Extend one leg up and back, 3-legged downward dog. And release that leg down. Try the other one. 3-legged downward dog. Create a long antenna-like structure through the spine and out through the heel. And then bring that leg down. Walk your way, tiptoeing forward to forward fold. Bend your knees and hold your elbows. Now, once you're in this forward fold, holding on to the elbows and draping forward and down, breathe. Listen. Breath. By breath. Like a whoosh. Clearing out what they call the secondary stress chemicals. So that's really what's causing disease, is keeping those chemicals stuck and in place in patterns of inflammation and holding. So whoosh out all of that stress. 2 more times. And begin to follow your breath on its journey. Good. Bring your hands to your knees and roll all the way up. So we're going to do that same extension pose. Here we go. Hands to the heart. Circle up. Extend back. Chin down, but chest continues to rise. So this is called in yoga, falling back, right? But we're never going to fall all the way back. We're going to let the spine get longer and longer by squeezing the spine from all the sides. So imagine like when you pick up a baby, you pick it up around the ribs there and kind of pull up. I think that's how you do it. So that's what we're doing. We're pulling up, but the shoulders stay floating down. So before you go any further here, close your eyes and find the boundary. My spine will only go so far. The connective tissue has an idea of how far it should go. And so that's my teacher. That's what I'm trying to learn. Not the shape, not the picture, but the feeling that I know where I am here. So don't go any further. Now breathe the ribs. Picture the ribs floating outward like you're catching air, and then pull them in. When you pull in, rebrace the core, the deep abdominal walls. 3 more breaths. Spark energy out through the fingers. Make sure the wrists are open. And then inhale up, swan dive into forward fold. Step into plank pose, so walk your hands all the way forward, step your feet back. Okay, so when this gets hard, when the nervous system says, I can't hold on to this anymore, that's when your big brain steps in and says something. You can do this. You are strong. You are powerful. I believe in you. 3 breaths. Keep putting energy through every muscle, connecting the joints, connecting. 1 more breath. Release the knees. Come all the way down. Take your time to move up into a cobra, wherever your cobra is today. All right, the image now of the low back moving up into the middle back. The image of that middle back shining out through the front of the chest like a beacon of light. And radiating outward, spreading the collarbones, spreading the chest. Hold on to that image and keep sending particles of light energy up that path. So our spine becomes a receiver, but also it's creating. It's creating the internal environment, weaving together the systems of the body, communicating connectedness and alignment. 3 more breaths. And so release all the way down. Stack your hands and let your head rest. Bend your knees and then gently swing your feet side to side. All right, I want this to become like a rhythmic, like you're watching the ocean. We've all done that where you're sitting on the beach, just watching those waves come in. And somehow, magically, your body gets into the rhythm of the ocean waves. This one is a lot more connected. The breath is connected to the oceans and the body. Go deeper. Notice that on your journey inward, from the edges out to the center, notice that you're bypassing signs of tension, signs of holding your stresses and your struggles, and kindly kind of soak them with the breath. Like the tide has come in and it's re-energizing and soaking in, that land that's been parched and dry. All right, let's put the feet down, spin the legs kind of open so toes pointing out. And now just breathe. Imagine you had a nose on your low back. Breathe into that. And out. So imagine your low back is like your belly and it can move. So when you breathe into it, it goes up. And then all the ribs on your back, magically now they can move too. So all of a sudden, your back has life. And it feels good. So feel supported in your practice. Don't stretch. So even when we're doing the poses, we're never really stretching. We're feeling supported. We're cleaning out the secondary stress chemicals that cause disease. And then reconnecting to healthy alignment. That alignment could be the joints, but it could also be in the decisions and the thoughts you're choosing. 3 more breaths. Breathe the body open. Stay within the boundaries and the edges that the body has told you are there. Good. Bring the legs back underneath you. Bring your hands next to your chest. Push back into child's pose. 2 breaths. Come halfway up, thread the needle, thread one arm underneath, come back down either onto the arm or turn the spine. Either way, let the head down. If the head doesn't reach, use your other hand or the block to hold it up so that your head doesn't have to hold itself. That's best of all. Don't make too much of this stretch. Oftentimes people say, I can't do thread the needle. Don't worry about doing the pose. Listen to what the body is telling you. What is that shoulder? What has it got in it? Are we doing a lot of activity and the shoulder has a lot of stress chemicals? Or was it just holding and not allowing anything in? On your journey inward, kindly douse the tissues with kindness and love, but energy. Like you're sprinkling, watering all the plants. 2 more of these water cans. Make your way kindly to the other side. So maybe, you're still sort of forward, or maybe you've kind of poked your hips back. I kind of like that one today. But wherever you're deciding to take your thread the needle, let the head relax. Let it be supported. So even a pose like this, where there's sort of a lot of twisting and I guess stretching in the upper back, feel supported, not stretched. And then invite your breath to go somewhere else. Imagine you're doing an easier pose. Imagine you're doing like, I don't know, Shavasana. And you're just inviting the breath within the boundaries of the body. Keep listening, not looking. So what would the ocean waves feel like? We've all been in the ocean. What would that feel like? It's supportive. It's cleansing. It's refreshing. The poses give us a safe place to practice inviting the self, inviting the mind, inviting your essence in, to awaken and notice what you're doing inside, so we can soothe and strengthen the nervous system and become steady in our interactions. 2 more of these watering cans of breath. Good, so begin to unwind, come around to a seated pose. Wow, that felt good. So wherever you want to do with your legs is fine. Whatever feels right with your legs, you can stretch them out. Just come to a slow twist. So slowly turn the spine. Drop your eyelids down, and I want you to feel the ringing out of the spinal column from the bottom. Remember, it's spiraling up and up and up and up. It keeps going up. It keeps going up. Slowly ringing out. So the eyelids are down, so we can feel being, not doing. So I don't want you to look at the pose and say, well, I'm doing this perfect pose. This practice today is about repose, being. What is the essence of what really matters to you? And quieting down the mental chatter. When you feel your shoulders beginning to drop, leave them there, brace the core, and then slowly turn the other way. So be careful when you're twisting, turning, only go about halfway. As soon as you feel a little bit of resistance, that's really a good indication that that's far enough. Because our head can spin further than our middle back, it feels like we should be able to twist everything. We can't. I want you to wait here with a constant, steady breath until your shoulders drop. When you can feel that moment. And so technically, it's when your sympathetic nervous system sort of shuts off, giving way to your parasympathetic nervous system. It's that moment when you sigh into your chair or into your bed, when you feel the shoulders drop, brace the core, and find inner peace. Try 3 more breaths. Maybe the shoulders have more to give. Remember, I want you to feel supported, not stretched. So don't pull. Don't twist very far. Keep your antenna rising. Unwind Make your way down all the way to the back. Draw one knee in, stretch the other leg out. So we're pulling one knee in, stretching the other leg out. So another thing that people say to me is, I don't know. My back is just twingy. I don't know. That's what people say. I don't know. It's just twingy. Like if I move too quick the wrong way, it could hurt. So then no one says it hurts. They don't tell me that, but they say, I don't know. There's just something there. So this pose is an excellent pose for I don't know. There's just something there. So you can feel the rim of your pelvis probably pushing into the floor. So this is a really kind, gentle, supportive is the word stretch for the low back that doesn't know. The truth is that your body knows. It may not be able to articulate in words and language, but your body is holding. It has its own language, and it's holding. Wiggle your toes around. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Keep wiggling. Then scrunch your toes and then relax them. See how it takes a little while for the toes to get the message to stop? Take a deep breath in. Exhale it all out. Now switch legs. Draw one knee in, stretch the other leg out. Notice the leg that you're stretching out and putting down. Something is happening with it. The first time, we didn't really feel that leg, but now we do. So go back to noticing the rim of the pelvis and how that's pushing into the floor. Go back to noticing that my low back needs my support. My low back needs my support. And so there's breath. Invite the breath to fully saturate the low back. Now wiggle, wiggle, wiggle the toes. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle the toes. See if you can get some space. See if the toes will move on their own, meaning, one and the other one, then the other one, then the other one, that kind of thing. Chances are, not really, but we're making the attempt. Now scrunch your toes, make a tight, I'll call it fist with the feet. And then as you relax the feet, relax the toes, notice that it takes time. Like your toes don't want to uncurl. They're sort of staying that way. Let them have that moment to decide it's safe to let go. Good. Bring both knees into the chest. Rock side to side. Again, another pose that's really good when your low back doesn't know. And it knows it needs support. It needs your help. It doesn't need necessarily to stretch. So I don't even really want you to even think of the word stretch, even though it seems like the obvious word to use. My body needs my support. My nervous system is constantly perceiving so that I can function inside and outside. Move all the way into Shavasana. So make sure that your arms and legs spin open. The chin. So now notice the container of the body. Now give permission to your body to let go. Give permission to those muscles in the shoulders and the neck to release. Now, as your muscles roll into the floor pushes up on you. Feel the floor pushing you up. nurture, and care for yourself. Listen. Listen. Noticing deep rest. Noticing a deep reset happening. Keep listening. Turn off the thinking mind as if you're waiting to hear further instructions. Awaken a sense of trust, a deep belief that the body is here for you, and that you and your body are both supported by everything, by the earth, by nature, by people, by everything. Without seeing, without saying, feel everything supporting you. Everything you ever want, everything you ever need is being drawn toward you and into you. Give your body permission to absorb it. More deeply, more deeply. And the more you do, the more supported you are. The more you give yourself permission to receive, the more you are. Now follow the breath in, follow the breath out. Follow the breath around. It's looping and swirling, transforming, transforming. Slowly make your way gently to your side. Open your eyes. Slowly begin to push yourself up. Move back to an easy pose, an easy seated pose. Bring the hands together. So make this connection. Thumbs to the heart, then the thumbs to the forehead. So kind of touch right kind of in between your eyebrows. Close your eyes. Take a couple of breaths that reconnects this big brain. So not just now with the inner landscape and the inner environment, but with the outer environment. So your hands literally become an antenna for that connection. I am here and I am supported. Open your eyes. Inhale, circle the arms down, like past the belly, reach the mountain up overhead. And then exhale, circle back, find that inner spot at the heart where you and I come together in repose. Namaste.